Well, good morning or good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining this Valo webinar. The webinar today will be on the 3 pillars of a great digital workplace strategy. I am super happy to be here today to be able to showcase you what is our own strategy at Valo and how we think we should build an intranet and a digital workplace solution. If you have any questions, feel free to send them in the chat. I will be monitoring those during the webinar. If not, you can also send us emails or at hello@valointranet.com or at seb@valointranet.com. It's going to be our pleasure to be able to respond to all of your requests and questions. Feel free to go on our own website, valointranet.com, where you'll be able to see everything about Valo and even book a demo if you're interested in the product. And if you like what we do, you can share on the social media using our own Twitter account at Valo Intranet, and you can also hashtag ValoLove. So what it is today we're going to talk. We're going to talk about the 3 pillars of a great digital strategy. And what does it mean? We'll come back to that. I want to make sure that before I can introduce myself. So first of all, I'm Seb, Sebastien. I am a product evangelist and a partner manager here at Valo Intranet. I am based out of Montreal in the north. I am an Office Development MVP, so I've been working with that SharePoint platform and Office 365 thingy for the last couple of years. And now I'm super happy today to be able to host this webinar. So the agenda today, what is the agenda? The agenda is all about the digital strategy and how we thought of that. So the first topic will be to talk about that digital workplace. What do we think is super important to have in a digital workplace strategy, and how you can benefit from that strategy in your own current digital workplace? But I also want to introduce you to what is Valo, how Valo can help you getting to your business needs, to your business requirements, and how you can reach your business goals using Valo. And then I want to show you what is cooking in terms of what is SharePoint cooking, but also what is Valo cooking in terms of what is coming in the next future releases of Valo that will help you get even more out of that digital workplace strategy. And finally, what are your next steps? How can you learn more, where you can go to try those things out? So let's start with the digital workplace. The digital workplace is some kind of a buzzword. For us at Valo, it means the hub where everyone meets. This is where you get stuff done. This is where you communicate with people. This is where you innovate with people. This is also where people are actually enjoying their work life. This is where everything is happening. We think of a good digital workplace to be the place to go in the morning, but also the place to come back throughout the day to make sure that you get stuff done. And we think at Valo that there's actually 3 big pillars of a great digital workplace strategy. The first pillar would be communication. We all know intranets to be a way to engage with our people, to communicate information, to make sure that people are in the loop, that people know what is happening in your organization. For smaller organizations, often we would think that emails would be enough. I just send an email and that's it. But in bigger ones, it might be a bit more complicated, as not everyone are reading their emails and sometimes very important messages need to be sent out. So we really think that for a good digital workplace strategy, we need to think about how we communicate to engage with people. And we want to make sure that all the different tools and channels are available in our own strategy. It's not only emails, it's not only web pages, it's a mix of different features in there. Then we want to have collaboration as a way to get things done. And the collaboration pieces in an intranet, especially in an Office 365 and SharePoint Internet, it is super important. SharePoint is still a document management system, and we want to leverage it and not replace it by our own thing. So it's a way for us to make sure that we are using what's good around the platform and include that directly in our own SharePoint strategy. And finally, we also think that innovation should be something that is super key to the success of your digital workplace. So the innovation as a way to contribute to your own organization, not to get things done, but to add yourself in there, to share your ideas, to go and share with people and work as a team to make your organization better. Not only your daily life, but your organization as a whole to make it better. So we really think that those are the three big pillars of our own digital workplace. But how does that translate to SharePoint, or at least to some tactics that you can use in your own organization to make that happen? So we separated that in three different pillars, and I will show them right away. So the first one is your intranet as a communication hub. That communication hub for us is super important. This is where everyone gets the information about what is going on in the enterprise, but also where I find my stuff, where I find information around my payroll, or around HR, or around the finance team, or how do I buy a new laptop when I'm an employee on the road. This is where you should find all that information. So communication for us is central key to that digital workplace strategy. First of all, we really think that you should be able to gather content from multiple sources to show them to your organization. You don't want to ask people to search for the content and to find it somewhere in your intranet. You want to actually act as an information hub where people will come and have all this information at a single place. That is super important. You want your users to easily find all the information and not to start looking all over the place for any type of information. You want them to come back to your site or to your own intranet and have that in a single place. Also, you want to make sure that the content that is seen by your users is actually tailored to your user needs, interests, and profile. If I am working for the IT department, or I'm working for the HR department, I may want to see HR information. I may see global information, but maybe what is happening in the manufacturing or the engineering team, maybe that's not something that is relevant for me as a very important news or very important information. I might still want to see it, but this is not my main source of information. So I want to make sure that all the information that is being shown to your users is always based on their profiles and interests. You don't want people to be bored by their internet and then just stop using it. It is very, very important to make sure that all the content that is in your internet, even though it would suit a lot of different people, you want the people that are interested in that content to be able to see the content. At some point, there's also very, very important news or very, very important information that you want to submit to your entire organization. You want to be able to push that information, and not only on the home page of your intranet, or not only as an email, but maybe you want to reach them in some social networks, or you want to reach them directly in their pocket as a notification of what's going on. And that is another key to success, because if you can do that, people, even on the road, will be aware of that very important news, and they will be able to engage. They will be able to come back to you and actually ask questions or come and share some information about that notification that just came in, or that new news, or that announcement, or whatever. So it is super important. As large organization, you also want to support users in multiple locations, in multiple languages, and that means something. It's not only in terms of content, but it's something that is also in terms of how you want to present that information. So you want to make sure that someone from the Calgary region is actually seeing the Calgary information before anything else. You want to make sure that this person is aware of all of that. Because it's local. It becomes personal, and the personal information is the best information you can get on an internet. When it touches you, it's easier to get engaged in a conversation or in different ways of communicating with the people. Finally, you also want to make sure your internet is not only accessible from everywhere, for example, to live in Office 365, which is a platform that is available from everywhere, but also from any device. You want to make sure that you're using all the nice and good technology to make it happen on that node. You want to be able to use the devices that the people are using instead of requesting them to use the device that you're actually providing. That means tablets, PCs, laptops, mobile phones. Even if you can also think about smartwatch, you want to get into the devices that the people today are using. You want also to be able to reach out to multiple generations of people. The millennials will probably want to have that on their own cell phones, while I may not want that on my cell phone. Maybe I want that on my desktop because this is my main device. So depending on who's your audience, you want to make sure that the information is being consumed by anyone. Super important in terms of communication. You want to reach out to as many people as you can. We also think about your internet as a collaboration hub. We live in the SharePoint world. We live in that Office 365 environment. And there are multiple aspects in collaboration over there. The most common aspect of collaboration would be the SharePoint sites. We all know about SharePoint sites. We've been using those SharePoint sites for a while now. But something that we're not very used to is that we want to make sure that the SharePoint site we're actually using is tailored to my needs, to my requirements. We want to make sure that we're not using only one type of site for all the different requirements. We want to have multiple tailored sites or multiple tailored templates based on what we actually want to accomplish on that site. So a project site and a team site would not have the exact same structure. Maybe on my project site, I want to have a task list. I want to have contacts list. I want to be able to do some management in there. While in the team site, I may want to only have a document library and some social capabilities, to be able to interact with each other. So it is for us extremely important to have that tailored aspect of SharePoint sites. In more controlled environment or in environments where you want to have some classification elements, it's also super important that your sites actually respect your information architecture. If it is in terms of your taxonomy, that you want to be able to tag your documents in terms of department, in terms of impact, is that a low business impact document or a high business impact document where those are maybe secured differently or maybe shared with the external users differently. You want to be able to respect your own information architecture in those sites, and that means a lot. That means that when you get to your site, you want to have that already ready. You want to be able to use a site as soon as it's ready based on your corporate engagement and your corporate policies. You don't want to ask a user to go in and start tailoring or customizing the site based on those policies, because if you put in some human interaction, you can also come into some kind of a problem or errors that could happen at some time. But that SharePoint site thing is so 2016. We're now in 2017. The Microsoft team is cheering a lot and moving a lot to what we call the modern SharePoint. And that modern SharePoint is actually a good feature that we think at Valo that is absolutely the future of SharePoint. But we need to embrace that. We need to embrace the modern SharePoint by integrating directly your Office 365 groups. You want to be able, not only from your Outlook or from your Delve site, but you want to be able to see where you have access to in terms of Office 365 groups. Those are amazing collaboration pieces. It brings in the calendar, brings in the OneNote pieces, it brings in the planner experience. It also brings the SharePoint experience, but in a modern way, using the modern lists and libraries where it's easier to collaborate, it's easier to get things done, but you want to still include that in your intranet strategy. Your intranet might not be a modern site. You want to be able to have some kind of a hub where you can go and see everything else. This is why we think embracing that modern SharePoint is very important in your intranet strategy, especially if you're living in the cloud. We also think of your intranet as an innovation hub. The innovation hub is something very, very, very important in terms of pulse. You want to leverage the pulse of your employees. You want to understand what's going on in your organization by polling your employees, but also asking your employees to share ideas with you or share thoughts on what's going well, what's not going well, how we could change some things in there. You also want to let your team contribute to your innovation backlog. So as a team, as an organization, we all have a bunch of things to do. Operational things, so things of like daily tasks, daily reports we need to generate, daily meetings, but there's also long-term investment that we want to take. For example, we want to review a process because we feel that the process is getting old, it's not optimized. Well, your team can probably help you a lot in understanding what's wrong with the process. And let the team talk, let the team collaborate and innovate to come up with some solutions, some ideas around what they actually can do to help you grow this process or fix the problems in that process. You also want to give a voice to your employees. You don't want to have a push approach to everything. For news, for events, maybe you want to suggest and to inform your employees from that side, so from the organization to the employee base. But you also want your employees to come back with feedback, to come back with new lines of thought, with new ways of thinking, with new process, with new ideas. So by featuring them on your intranet, featuring what they did good, what good ideas they had, might be a very, very good strategy to make sure that your employees feel that they're rewarded by their own intranet. It's a good thing to contribute. It's also a good thing to give some kudos to people that contributed a bit more than the others and that changed the organization. So we think that the innovation and sharing of ideas and thoughts is a key to your intranet strategy. Also, in terms of a bit more admin, or in terms of watching what's going on in your intranet, you want to make sure that you can keep an eye on your intranet. You don't want to leave your intranet in the wild and just expect things to change. You want to act rapidly on what is going on. So you want to know what's the favorite content of your users. Your users will like, will comment, and you want to have some stats on that. You want to make sure that those different elements are actually liked by my users. So this is something, or the way that I wrote the article or the way that I wrote that news is talk to the user. The users felt that is something interesting, that is absolutely valuable for their work, and then they can just continue on. And if you continue to craft that kind of content, they will be absolutely delighted by that. But on the other side, if you think that you wrote an amazing article, an amazing news, but finally no one is liking it, no one is commenting, no one is actually acting or engaging on that news, you want to know about that. You want to make sure that, hey, I'll try something new. You want to have some kind of an improvement cycle on your content, and by having that feedback that is actually no feedback, you will get to craft better content. You also want to act on unused or unpopular content. You want to know which page was not actually consumed. People are not going to that page. You spent a week worth of effort to build that new HR policy page with fancy images and a lot of documents, and actually people are not even going there. Why? What should you do? How do you know that this happens? So in terms of gauging your efforts and understanding how you can improve your user engagement on the entire spectrum of your intranet, this is important to keep an eye on your intranet at all times. So that resumes what is our strategy. Our strategy is to have a very strong communication hub where you can show information, publish news, publish events that people will actually be aware, and that it can also be consumed from everywhere and from all the devices. You also want to have a great collaboration story where you can integrate with your SharePoint environment, but also with your Office 365 groups environment, and have a very, very strong collaboration where you can be productive. And also you want to have innovation at the center of all of that by making sure that people can actually collaborate and innovate and share thoughts together, that they can bring new ideas to the table, and that the organization will actually consider them in terms of implementation. And finally, you want to keep an eye. You want to make sure that all of those three different pillars are actually monitored at some point, where you can know which environments or which pages or which workspaces are being used and which are not, which are good and which are not. What are the kind of content that people like, and what kind of content that people are actually not liking. So that is how we actually built our own tool. So that's how we built Valo. We started with those three different pillars, and we built an entire solution on top of that. And that solution is a way for us to come with a response to all of those three pillars, and to add some very awesome goodness to the SharePoint and Office 365 environment. So what is Valo? Valo is actually a ready-to-go modern intranet on Office 365 and SharePoint. So it is the center of all your communication. It's also very social, and it gets you organized in terms of teamwork. It has a very beautiful user experience. So we really think that this is one of the key of Valo. You want to make sure that your users are actually falling in love with your intranet based on a very simplistic but very, very modern user experience. Also, we make sure that it works on any device, that you can start using it immediately. You don't want to have a ton of work to do before you can actually start working on Valo. You want to have it very, very easily and very rapidly in your hands, and you want to keep it up to date. One of the reasons why you would want it to keep it always up to date is that always remember that when you live in the cloud, for example in Office 365, Office 365 is changing every day, and you want to be able to leverage those new features inside your own intranet. So that's why by being always up to date, you will always get the latest and greatest features from the Office 365 environment directly in your own hub, in your own intranet, directly inside Valo. There's a very interesting quote here about the future of SharePoint Internet. We hear a lot about do we still need an internet, and we absolutely think that we need. And the reason why is because people are more and more on the road working remotely. We need to have a centralized location where people can meet and collaborate and innovate with each other. So the quote is the following: the SharePoint marketplace is undergoing a huge pivot. Within 1 or 2 years, the SharePoint Internet marketplace will shift from 90% custom coded solution to 80-90% out-of-the-box internet products running on SharePoint as a platform. And it's exactly why we think that SharePoint is still absolutely relevant and a great place to integrate yourself in terms of internet. You don't want to go anywhere else. You want to be where it's happening, which is in the SharePoint as a platform where you want to go. And it's exactly what we're doing at Valo. We want to make sure that you don't waste your time and money investing in your own internet solution. We already thought about all the problems you will face in that kind of project. And at some point, Valo will just get you exactly where you want it to be much more rapidly than if you would build it by yourself. So that's how we think about the future of SharePoint Internet. And today, we're still absolutely delighted to see that Valo fits nicely in the SharePoint environment, in the SharePoint ecosystem, and also in the modern SharePoint approach. So you will see at the end of the deck, I will introduce 2 of our new features that are coming in the next couple of releases, where we will show you what we did to integrate very tightly with the SharePoint modern experience. At Valo, we have more than 200 customers running in more than 20 countries with over 400,000 users from all over the world, from the US to Canada to Europe to South Africa to Australia to New Zealand. We have people running Valo everywhere, and we're very proud of that. And I would be more than delighted if you would be one of them. So if you have any question on that, feel free to reach out to me right after this webinar. Valo is also full of features. So I will not go through all of them as I will do a very quick demo right after, but it's packed with features. All the features you would expect from an intranet, they're all there. If you want to build your own features, because Valo might not have what you need, Valo is still 100% based on SharePoint. So if you know anything about SharePoint customization, you can also do that within Valo. So that is a very good point for you. You're not locked in with Valo. Valo is also very beautiful, very UX driven, very mobile friendly. So we have 3 different out-of-the-box layouts and a 4th one that I will introduce later that are absolutely stunning. So the first one is what we call the Lux, which is the one that is being currently shown on the screen. This is what is the modern SharePoint for us at Valo. But we also have a more tiled approach, which is this one, which is called Lumen. This is also very bright, very shiny, nice layout, 4 different columns in there, very nicely done. And also we have more the newspaper way of seeing Valo, which is the Candela one. And this is the one that is being absolutely revamped, and I will show that at the end of this webinar. Valo is also mobile. Not only mobile in terms of how you browse the site, but also we have a native mobile application that comes with Valo. And that brings your news, your local news, and your alerts directly in your pocket. We can also communicate with our users through native push notification using that application. So it means that we can easily send out news and very important alerts directly to all the users, and we can ensure that people will actually see it. Valo is also 100% Office 365 compatible, which means that it's leveraging a good portion of the Office 365 ecosystem, including Office 365 Video, Delve, the search experience, your profile. It also reaches out to Yammer, Office 365 groups, Planner. So all of those little features are included in the Office 365 suite and are also being leveraged by Valo. But at some point, you may want to still be on premises for your SharePoint environment, and we do support that 100% also. So it means that we have 100% support of SharePoint 2016 and 2013, which means that you can still deploy Valo on your own premises and leverage all the goodness of modern Valo directly in your own on-premises environment. Valo is also built on best practices, so I will not go into the details, but one key takeaway that you need to understand here is that Valo is built on best practices for only one reason. Is to make sure that we are always compliant with the Office 365 ecosystem. So if Office 365 does an update, we don't want you to be in some deep trouble when that update happens, when there's a new feature, when there's a new look, when there's a new UI that comes in. We're always preventing that by the way that we're integrating into SharePoint. So it means that you get the latest of Office 365 and that will never break your Valo installation. So now I want to show you very quickly what Valo is as a product. So let me get back to my browser here, and here's Valo. So Valo has a ton of features built in, and this is what you would get from a standard Valo deployment. So here we're using the Lux UI pattern that we have built. So first thing you will notice is that blue thing at the top. So currently we have an alert. We have an alert going on. We have something happening. So in that case, there's a fire alarm in building A. That means that I received that directly on my mobile phone. I also see that in my intranet, no matter what is the form factor I'm using. And it's always there in your face. So you know what is actually going on. Then right after, we have the carousel of news. That carousel of news is where you would see everything tailored to you. So what is relevant to your own profile or your own interest, this is where you will see it. So in my case, I'm based out of New York in that scenario. So I only see content that is targeted to New York, but I could also go in terms of interest. I'm interested in HR or in IT or in finance. That will also be the case. If I click on one of those news, I will be redirected to the news. I will be able to see here some content in here, the image and all of that based on the SharePoint environment. So we're leveraging SharePoint pieces in there natively to make sure that you feel at home. So we're also reducing the amount of training as we're using the SharePoint environment as a editing environment. It's easier for your users to get used to it. I was talking earlier that we were supporting multiple devices and all of that. Let's make sure that I'm showing you that. So here I am, I just reduced my window, and I want to show you that we're actually very responsive. So if I'm doing that, for example, now I'm on the tablet form factor. So you see here, now I'm using a 2-column layout instead of a 3-column layout. Same thing if I go a bit smaller. Oh, now I'm on a mobile layout. And that makes it very simple and easy to use. My menu is now here. I can expand that. And with the finger, it's kind of easy to be able to manage that right in that feature. But I was also talking about me being able to have a fairly easy experience in terms of mobile device, that we have a mobile application that exists directly on my iPhone. So I will just show you right here. So now I'm just mirroring my own iPhone right here, and you can see I have my Valo mobile, and I can get directly in my news environment where I can see my different news. I can go here, and I can also see the different news that I have directly on my home page. Can go here, for example, and start consuming that news directly on my own web part. I can also see the news that are not the ones that are highlighted, that the ones are more global, that are for everyone, not a local one. I can see it. So we have a very, very nice approach to use Valo as a mobile native application, and we can also go right here and just open the full intranet if we want to actually see the responsive version of it. So that is a cool feature that we have also at Valo. Then if we continue our road, in terms of communication, we're communicating alerts, communicating here with news and more local news right here. We're also communicating in terms of events. So you can see all the next events that are happening in the organization right here. It's easy for people to register, to have a notification directly in their Outlook calendar. So we're actually very happy about that because it makes it easy to register to events and also to make sure that people are actually coming to your events, even though you can schedule them ahead of time. Same thing in terms of communication. There's a new trend today in communication where people are trying to move to video. Lots of videos are being used now today. So what we did is we integrated deeply with the Office 365 video portal, where we can show you different channels or the most favorite videos in there. And by leveraging that, we have a very, very amazing experience in here, which means that if we're on a desktop, it's going to use the very, very high definition version of your video. But if you're on a mobile, and so deep in the woods where you would have a bad network connection, it will still send you the video, but in a much lower resolution, which will make you see the video, enjoy the video, but not having to wait for a ton of times before it actually plays. So we're actually very proud of that. In terms of collaboration and innovation, we're also integrating deeply directly on our home page. So one of the things we do in terms of innovation and communication is here we have the weekly polls. We can poll people in terms of how do we do, how's the business doing, or who's the employee of the month, and then I can just select the best employee of the month here. I can actually just answer, and then I can see right away the results of that poll. So that is actually very cool. But also I may want to see, oh, who's that Knut guy? I don't know him. So I can just go here and start leveraging that nice feature that we have that brings people cards. And when people have more information in their profile, they actually see all that information. So I can see the title, which department, phone number, email address. That is very cool, but maybe you don't know exactly who you want to talk to. So you can go here and go in department and ask for marketing, and then I will be able to see Seb showing up. So now I see that department marketing, Seb is in there. I can also go by office or skills or any other information that would reside in your own Active Directory. So that is a very, very cool feature that we have. In terms of communication, we also have that Yammer integration where we integrate deeply with Yammer in terms of groups and communication and interactions and engagement, where people can interact with each other directly on your portal, but also in any specific pages. So think about the HR department where you could have a Ask Me Anything group where people can go in there and ask public questions that the HR department could answer directly in there. So it feels very, very natural and it's easy to use. We were talking earlier about innovation and actually rewarding people in terms of thoughts and ideas. So what we did here on the CEO blog, but it could be any types of blogging, it's a blog that integrates with the Delve profile of the users in Office 365. That Delve profile is a nice way to communicate. So it's a way for me as a user to actually just go in and share my thoughts. So here, for example, I have an article that I wrote that is easy to create, easy to maintain, very easy editing experience. That is actually like this one. So we're using the modern SharePoint approach. You can go here, you can actually go there, start writing stuff, just making it bold or making it quote. So it's very easy for us to manage that kind of content. And then you just publish it. So your users won't need a very deep knowledge of blogging or the SharePoint experience. They will just use that and it's going to be very easy for them. And automatically, their blog will be featured on the home page. So it's going to encourage people to start using those new approaches to share their thoughts in terms of innovation in ideas and process directly in the organization. One of the things that we talked about earlier is collaboration. We want to make sure that people have that single place where to go in terms of collaboration, and that's what we built with the module at VOLA is called the teamwork module. So if I go into the teamwork module, I will see in here, oh, sorry for that. I just entered too fast. Here you will see all the different workspaces that I am a member of. In your entire Office 365 environment, you might have access to 1,000 or 2,000 or 500 or 20 sites. But then how do you find the URLs? How do you go there? How do you search for them? So what we do here, we build some kind of a dashboard based on the type of sites that you created. So here we have two types of sites, one that is called project, one that is called teams. And then you can just go in here and start searching. So I want to go to that site, and then automatically it filters out all the sites that you want to see based on the criteria that you put in. And then you can just go here. It's gonna pull a new tab, and then you can just go here and see exactly what's going on in that site. The cool thing about that site is the fact that it is custom tailored. So we asked the site to create that project summary, those tasks, project status, workspace contacts, recent documents, Yammer integration built in to that site, so I can start collaborating and exchanging ideas in a very specific group that has the exact same name that my project site just had. So that is built into the product. So you can, when you're in the teamwork page, you can just go here and click on the order on your workspace, and then you will be able to get in, ask for a title, select a workspace type, and then go in and put in some information. And once this is done, your site will be created. You'll receive an email alerting you that your site was created and is ready to be used. And then you can just use it and invite the people you want to work with in that specific project or specific team. But then we also talk about that the collaboration story is changing a lot at Microsoft, using more and more the Office 365 groups, and you want to make sure that you also feel at home with that set of features. So you can go here, use the Groups tab, and here you can see all your Office 365 groups. On the right, you can also see your latest group discussion, your latest documents that were created in your own environment, and you can go here and use that link and get to your modern team site in Microsoft where you were invited. So those are only the sites that you're a member of. So you will not see right here in terms of security, you will never miss, you will never see something you don't have access to. If you have access to it, it's going to show up right there. But then you will also be able to browse the public groups. So here you see we have some public groups. Those two groups are public groups that I could register and try to start leveraging as a collaboration group for me, because I may want to contribute in those two different groups. So that is our teamwork and collaboration aspect. So by creating an dashboards on all your sites, it's easier for all your users to remember where to go and where to be productive. It's very, very easy. I was also talking earlier about our ideas around innovation that brings the organization to the next level. So we have a module called idea management, and that idea management module is where people can actually exchange ideas. So for example, I want to get into that idea here that is, or this one that is going to be implemented, so I can actually go in and like it to show that I actually like this idea. So I can go here or unlike and like, so I can like it. I can go here and comment, nice idea. I would be happy to see it implemented. Then you can just go here and post that, and then it's going to update that page, and you will see the comments in there. So you can use that vehicle to share ideas and grab some feedback from all your different users. You can also feature some of those ideas to grab more feedback, to feature a theme or a weekly topic where everything would actually happen. You also have great stats, great analytics on that. So here you will see the number of who's the biggest contributor to the idea management system. So you can see it's me. Yay, I'm the only one. Here, same thing for the type of ideas and how many ideas were posted when, and when the status changed between ideas. So it's very cool. Also, where are the areas of improvement of the organization? So you have a bunch of stats that help you understanding your environment and how you can actually work together as a team to make your organization better. Last but not least, we also have that admin toolpack, that makes you have a quick look at all the stats in your intranet that makes it relevant for you to see. So you can go here in the admin toolpack, and the admin toolpack will show you all the pending workspaces that are in there. So maybe there's something that is it's been a while, nobody approved the workspace. The most popular workspace are here. The new workspaces, the least visited page, so I'm never going to that templates page. That means that maybe someone is actually not using that. And I may try to promote it through a news, through an event, through an announcement. You can do a bunch of things. And you can also use the content tools right here to create the content, to create news items, to create the alerts, create the open job position, create events, publish new Our People content. And for us, it's a great way to engage with your users to make sure that they are using the best tool for what they are actually expecting. So that was in a 15-minute run through what is our Valo solution. Something I completely forgot is that thingy here are my links. So now you can also have some favorites in your own intranet. So if you want to go in and add new links and add new content in there, you can add some kind of your favorites within your intranet. So it's easy for anyone to have some reminders or some shortcuts to specific places that are relevant for you directly in your intranet. So now, what is actually cooking? What is happening in Valo in the next couple of months? So first of all, we just released our April 1.12 Green Flash release, which contained the news comments feed, the My Tools, which is the links at the top, the Expertise Finder, integration with SharePoint framework, and the news analytics that you have seen in our admin toolpack. The next is going to be in July. So we're working on Teamwork 2.0, the Social Hub 2.0, which is a way for you to see all the activities around your social medias. We're also working a lot on the Candela UI refresh, and I will show you some screenshots we have of what is cooking, and I hope you're going to love it as much as I do, because I'm actually in love with that new design. Who has access where? So we're building a feature that will be able to monitor who has access where and making sure that you don't have any security leaks or security breach in there. And then we're also coming in the second half of 2017 with two more releases. One that's going to be in early October and one that's going to be in early December, where we will tightly integrate with the SharePoint modern experiences and making sure that it makes sense for you to use Valo and the modern experiences together. But now I want to show you two new features that are coming. So it's one of the first time we show that to our customers and partners. We actually showed that at our partner summit last week. So now we have two new features that are coming. So that is the Teamwork 2.0. This is where you will be able to collaborate and start leveraging all the features you like of your SharePoint modern experiences. So a new search experience, also a new way of seeing all the different sites that are available to you. But mainly, it's going to be where you will also be able to jump in directly to your planner, to your projects, to your plans, to your sites, to your Outlook. It's going to be one way, a one-stop shop for all your Office 365 environments. So I don't want to go too deep into that. We're going to have more to share in the next couple of weeks, but this is where Valo is actually going. Also, I was telling you that we're going to have a new UI refresh in terms of Candela. So Now this is what the new Valo Candela UI will look like. That includes quick links on the top, very tiled-based content in the entire workspace, but also very nice looking fluid UI that goes through the bottom like that, where you will have a very neat footer that's going to be available throughout all your organization. And this is what we're going to do for Candela 2.0. So this is where we're going with Valo in terms of UI. So you can also see it again like that. It's going to be an easy one. It's going to be tailored to your own needs, your own profile. You'll be able to use some of those features directly with your existing content of Valo, or you'll be able to use those new UI patterns in any new Valo deployments that you're going to do in the future. So we're very happy about that that new feature that is coming in the next couple of months. Now, what are your next steps? So the next steps you would have are actually very simple. First of all, for more information about Valo, you can go on to valointranet.com. You can chat with us directly on the website, and you can also book a demo if you would like. You can follow at Valo Intranet for all the news about us and what we do. We have plenty of good blog posts on our site that are all being featured on our Twitter account, so feel free to reach out to follow us, and it's going to be good to engage with each other on the social networks. Call to action. For any private demo, discussion, or anything else, please feel free to reach out to us. You can also go on our own Valo Intranet site /book-a-demo, where you'll be able to fill a form, and we will reach out to you very rapidly. You have all my contact information right here. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any question around the product or the Office 365 environment in general. It's going to be a pleasure for me to help you and answer all those questions. Thanks for attending that webinar. I'm super happy to have had this webinar with you. It's now time for me to go for a light lunch. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the chat, and looking forward to our next conversation. Thank you guys. Have a great day.